You guys are going to be able to listen to 2 hours of me playing scales. My back and shoulders are both bugging me like crazy. Guys, this is going to be tougher than I thought. I don't know what I expected, but this is definitely not easy. Maybe I'm a solid 5 out of 10. That might be enough to keep me going for 40 hours. We'll see. Oh boy. We still got a long way to go. Awesome, but I'm not 100% convinced that it will, so that's what this is. Okie doke, let's get started. If I wanted to maximize my chances of success, at this point I really needed to attempt to play something that would excite and energize me. Fortunately, I had just the piece. Alright, so my next piece of music that I want to learn is going to take up a lot of time because it is a ridiculously long piece. It is Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin. One thing I'd been doing quite a bit in the past 10 hours, and would prove to be an invaluable technique for increasing alertness moving forward, was explaining some theory behind whatever I was playing. Alright, let's go through the keys that this piece experiences. So, we start in B flat, right? The mother of all keys. But then this happens, but then does it again, just repeats the same exact thing, up another fourth, and now we're in E flat, which leads us to our new key of A flat. But we've ended this section on a D flat 7 chord, which of course leads us to a new key already. So this is the third time we've played this melody, and it's the third different key. So now we're in G flat. Now this leads into a theory I have that keys don't actually really exist. Actually, it's more than a theory. I live by this. Keys are a fluid thing that you enter in and out of depending on how the music dictates. Sometimes you want to stay in a key, sometimes you want to leave it. And to feel restricted in the key is I think, a bad thing. This represents the beginning of what would become my strategy for maintaining sanity. I found that the more I talked, the more I could trick myself into having fun. Although the cracks in my sanity were already beginning to show. After I hit 12 hours, it was 6:30 again, though now in the PM. Alright, it's time for me to go to eat dinner. Guys, 12 hours. Who knew we could get this far? 12 hours. What is that? That is 6/20, 3/10? 3/10! 3/10 of the way there. Would you look at that? We're practically done. Almost. Right? 3/10? No, 3/5. Wait, no. That doesn't make sense. 3/10. Unfortunately, despite all my strategizing, the limits of the human spirit were slowly rearing their ugly head. Alright. Back to it. My retention ability might be, or my retention levels may be very, very low. As a consequence, I was becoming increasingly impatient and distracted, frequently talking and interacting with the audience to keep me going. Yeah, this is the one that you do for a bathroom break. I think of all the ones here. Oh, this one's pretty good. Back. It's gonna be rough. Because right now, because it's exhausting right now just because I'm playing piano, because I've been playing it for 13 hours. But sleep, I'm going to have to push through sleep for the next 27 hours. And that's going to be a challenge. I can't even begin with this section. Because the left hand is playing 2 parts at once. What the heck? What the heck? How are you supposed to do this? What? Your left hand is just like... I'd like to say that I'm feeling great and that the next 27 hours, or well, I guess 26 almost at this point, are going to be a cinch. That's not true. I'm feeling okay. Like, I'm excited to go through the night. Because going through the night means all I have left is a day's worth of piano playing, and then I'm done. But I am exhausted, and it's gonna be tough to get through. But it's all right. With the goal of making this engagement/distraction easier, I figured out an ingenious way to see the chat on the piano, so I didn't need to look away to see them. Oh, here's what I can do. I can just literally open it up on my phone. And then I can look at the chat. Oh, it's right there. Wait, that's awesome. I don't know why I didn't think of doing this. I just have it open now right in front of me. Sweet, sweet. Now I can see. It was a revelation. Now, from this point forward, my engagement with the audience skyrocketed, and my focus plummeted. A trade-off especially noticeable when you compare the talking to playing ratio of the first 14 hours to that same ratio moving forward. I mean, I haven't actually done the math, but trust me. It certainly did not help my ability to stay on one piece for an extended period of time, meaning I was too impatient to keep with Rhapsody in Blue and had to revisit some old favorites. However, I decided to strategize in a way that would help dampen this instinct. I've decided that when it hits 20 hours, that's when we can return to stuff we've already done. I think it'd be cool, because then we could go back to like how we started and see if we've actually improved at all in the past 20 hours of practice. Whew! And, oh yeah, remember the back and shoulders issue? I cannot stress to you guys just how helpful getting this chair was. Like, I just realized, like, how comforting it is to have back support. With that no longer a problem, I let Rhapsody in Blue carry me to 15 hours. When it had begun to dawn on me that the halfway point of my journey was within sight. Yeah, 5 more hours to go until we're halfway done. That's pretty sick. I remember, like, right when this was starting, I couldn't believe that I would ever be halfway done. At around this point, the time had clicked past 10 p.m., and night had begun. Members of the audience and people all over the East Coast were finally settling down and resting their heads after a long day of work, excited to allow sleep to carry them into the next day. I, however, was stuck, doomed to carry myself or fall asleep trying. I think the me of 13 hours expressed it best. You guys are going to go to bed tonight, and I wake up in the morning, and here I am going to be banging around on the piano, and you will have literally, you'll have just like time traveled into the future, whereas I will have to experience the next like 10 hours of nighttime piano playing. Woo, we can do it. We can do it. I celebrated this milestone with a return to Debussy, playing pieces that, for whatever reason, seemed to fit the atmosphere rather well. But then it was quickly back to the grind. When we passed 16 hours, I decided to switch gears and make another attempt at learning a piece from scratch. It was a prelude to a piece by Ravel called Couperin's Tomb, or as I attempted, but it's something like Le Tombeau de Couperin. I don't know French.
Le tombeau de Couperin.
Could have been worse. This is a lot more difficult Doing the playing for 40 hours is a lot more difficult than I expected it to be. That's what I've learned. I did cross country in high school, and we would often have runs that we would go on where you'd go out some direction and then turn around and just come back that direction. On your way out, it was kind of miserable because you were leaving home, but on your way back, you knew that every step you took was taking you closer to home. That's what hitting 20 feels like. Hitting 20 feels like finally turning that corner and coming back, and then every hour is just taking me home. Well, it's taking me to my bed, I suppose. At this point in our story, I want you to truly appreciate how long 40 hours is, because it's tempting to simply categorize it as a lot of hours, something that I definitely did when I was anticipating this challenge. The problem is that 10 hours is also a lot of hours, and so is 24. It's a pretty low resolution description that makes this number, 40, difficult to appreciate. First, I want you to imagine doing something for 16 hours straight. Since that is about the time most people spend awake, that means starting it the second you get out of bed and continuing until it's time to sleep. Maybe some of you have experienced this in an especially long car ride, or perhaps a particularly exhausting workday. Anything done for 16 hours needs to be the sole focus of an individual for the entire time he spends conscious. 16 hours is a lot of hours, but it's not even close to 40. Consider this. It takes about 40 hours to drive from New York to Los Angeles without any stops. If you drove 16 of those hours, you wouldn't even get to Des Moines. I mean, look at how much of the country you still have left to travel. You're not even halfway there. Now, I want you to imagine doing something for 24 hours. This is much more difficult, as we don't have a great sense of what 24 hours feels like. Most of the time, in a given 24-hour period, we're unconscious for 8, though often significantly fewer, of those hours. I'm sure there are people watching who maybe have driven such lengths. Perhaps others have experienced this getting lost playing video games. Or maybe students with intense study habits or upcoming term papers. But 24 hours is working to the point where your body is ready to call it quits for the day, and then continuing for another astounding 8 hours, a full additional workday. Having to experience 24 hours straight is an exception, and there are many who have never done it at all. 24 hours is a lot of hours. Now, I want to imagine waking up and working until the second it was time to sleep. The moment your body has depleted the necessary 16 hours worth of energy to make it through the day, and then you had to keep going for another 24 hours. That is truly difficult to imagine. That is a lot of hours. We can do this. We've got less than 24 hours to go. It's less than a day. We've got less than a day of piano playing left to go. Can do it. All right. I'm starting to lose focus. Things in my brain are starting to shut down, which probably isn't ideal, considering we still have 23 hours left. We can do it. All right. Anyway, so this chord progression, it follows this walk down. 3 more hours left. Yeah, 3 more hours left until the halfway point, and then we're going home. Every hour goes home. I swear though, these 10 hours, since the previous 10 hours have been so much worse, they felt so much longer. I wonder if the last 10 hours will feel quicker than the third 10 hours. They won't. My energy was depleting rapidly. When we finally passed 12 a.m. and entered a new day, I began to consider artificially stimulating my body into thinking it was less tired. You know what? I might take a coffee break, actually. Get some coffee. I'm hoping that after coffee, And I'm hoping that when the sun rises, my energy will return. And so, I continued doing a mix of playing, writing and fingerings. Alright, so this has to actually be 545, which is absolutely atrocious.
Oh no.
And most importantly, talking about whatever. So Civilization 5 is a video game. Until I finally hit 18 hours. At which time I answered a question about one of my most popular video requests at the time. So the number one most suggested video I get for the voice orchestra videos that I make, the number one most suggested piece is He's a Pirate. He's a Pirate would be awesome, and I would love to do it, but I can't find the score anywhere. And that's the thing that makes this interesting, is the fact that there's a score that I can sing along with. If the score becomes available, if I somehow find a way to do it, then I totally will. Absolutely. By the way, the coffee here is brought to you by Liberty University, the only campus on the face of the planet where you can get a film scoring degree and a mathematics degree at the same time. Also, when I was getting my coffee there, I was looking for the sugar to put something in it. And before I found the sugar, I made eye contact with the salt, and I had a truly terrible thought. This was the first time I artificially energized myself, though it will not be the last. I spent the rest of the hour trying to memorize a piece I used to know called The Girl with the Flaxen Hair by Debussy. I had neither the sheet music nor a functioning printer, nor for that matter a functioning brain. So I had to make do with my phone, hence the worse than usual posture. What is this chord? It's... oh, okay. Alright guys, it's 19 hours. We're almost at the halfway point. That is sick. I can't believe we're almost halfway done. That's absurd. That was alright. Alright, so I have it mostly memorized again. Neato! That's productive. And something I did. I actually did something in these 20 hours. I am pretty tired, but I've got a cup of coffee. Oh, it's cold. A cup of freezing cold coffee. Now, the halfway point was rapidly approaching. So which piece should have the honor of carrying me through towards such an important milestone? Oh yeah, here we go. Shout out to my friend Michael Boyles for putting this arrangement together and sending it my way. This, after an entire day of playing, a cup of coffee, and dramatically decreased brain function, proved just entertaining enough to get me to the point where... oh, we hit it! We did it! We hit 20. Woo! Oh boy. Alright. So, we did it. There are now fewer hours ahead of me than there are behind. And that's a good feeling, knowing that I only have like 19 hours and 55 minutes left. Like, that's a small amount of time. I can totally do it now. I'm gonna eventually stop the recording and then start recording again, so I'm not losing time. What am I saying? My brain is not functioning. Oh my gosh. After 20 hours, I guess, of being awake and playing the piano, your brain starts to function a little bit less goodly. Just like when I hit 10 hours, I decided I would make this milestone into an opportunity to talk to the audience and do a little Q&A. Good luck with this. It's really dumb, but I'm cheering for you. I appreciate the sentiment. I agree. It is a really dumb idea. A lot of people were curious about my well-being. How am I alive? Honestly, your guess is as good as mine. How did I mentally prepare for this challenge? I didn't. And I thought that was the best way to do it, because if I tried, I would probably psych myself out. And they were especially curious of the apparent alertness I was projecting. It could be the coffee, the me being not seeming tired. As soon as I start, or maybe it's the fact that I'm talking, and usually I can talk myself out of being tired. As soon as I stop talking and start playing the piano, it's gonna... Because I still, even after it becomes 6 a.m., right now it's... Well, right now it is 3 o'clock. But even after it's 6 a.m., I still need to go till 10 p.m., and it might be tough for me to keep going all that. Am I dead? I don't know, maybe. And truth be told, I felt decent. I had had some coffee, a consistent group of people cheering me on who I could talk to and hang out with, no more lingering pain in my back and shoulders, and I had just turned the corner on this challenge and began heading home towards the finish line. I was still cautiously optimistic. I mean, I'd already done 20 hours, so obviously I could do 20 more, right? I think I'm alright, but we're gonna find out in probably a few hours. I had no idea just how hard those hours could be.